Yo, so we have to do this in an interesting way. It is Sunday, the 23rd of August. And what happens with a lot of people, they don't understand how the law of nature works. They don't understand what alpha and beta means. They don't understand what predator and prey means. They don't understand what worship or prayer also means. You know why I'm saying that? The thing about it, the test always come upon the strongest of people. So in other words, our tests are greater than the tests that regular folks get bonded with. And I'm saying bonded because some people choose their test and hug up the pain and permanently change. That's not me, and it has never been me. I could tell you that for a fact for many stories, many reasons, and many pathological liars I know. So with that being said, there's a very big difference between hyenas and wolves. Hyenas test your defenses. Wolves already know which parts of your defenses are weak and know what to do exactly when you try to run or leap. And that's the problem they have with me. They thought I was just as them, weak, stupid, dumbfounded. That has never been me. That's why I know when I was the black sheep of my family, and I know my brother hated me. This is how life goes. You change, you adapt, you survive, you live. And this is what occurs. Now, with that being said, people need to understand what changes you can make everything happen in a difference in perception. So if I get out of the light, you will see it looking differently. So now with that being said, let's go back in. When that happens, elephants have a photographic memory. Also, they respect people who respect them. It's the same with wolves and swans. A lot of people don't even know that. They stay with one person. You know what I experienced in the past few weeks, into a couple of years? Circumstances that made me and made others who they are. Some people don't like to take accountability for their actions. And you see fanatics, crazy people, psycho fans, don't ever like to admit they have a problem. The biggest way to get help in life is first admitting that you have a problem. And this is the problem that we have in Trinidad and Tobago right now. You see, what happens is just as this is, underlying events of people having first experiences with this fruit usually say it's acidic, but everybody knows it has some of the trees like this one, for instance. This is one of the sweetest trees you'll ever taste. And trust me, I don't ever let anything go to waste. You could make chow, you could make juice, you could make wine, you could make fry stick style just to stick in the fridge. There's so much things you could do with it. And with guiltiness, there's only one thing you could do with it. Remember that. But if you do good, blessings will always come back onto you. And what is that typical thing right now in Trinidad and Tobago? If you're not strong enough, they go with the old cliche, the 80s cliche that is, if you can't beat them, join them. I don't really go down that road. It's very interesting. So why I'm saying that is that you need to understand something. This only happens when the tree has much growth and it's healthy. You don't get fruits and you don't reap fruits of good reward if you're doing negative. So every time I pick up my fruits, I always clean around which part my tree is. And some people tell me and my tree have a very close relationship. And it's very interesting. I'm not ashamed to say it might be true. So I learned that when you become one with nature, nature treats you good. And birds do speak to you on mornings. And furthermore, it has this very strange thing that has been happening to me from since I was a kid. All animals that fly, all birds, in all formats, even spirits and all, come to me. And while I'm speaking to you, blackbirds always go around fruit trees. But it's very interesting. Why would blackbirds protect one person and then fly away and bother all the other people walking simultaneously? Some people don't believe in superstition and they call it superstition. But some people know that forces are real. So let me show you this. Everything that happens I always clean around my perimeter. Look how nice it looks. And this is the root of all the sweetness that was just being shown to you. But if you don't clean around it, if you don't treat it well, nobody will ever reap the rewards of good fruit. So when you keep on doing negative, what do you expect to come from? Or what do you expect to really reap from it? So there's two neighbors that don't talk to me. One always slanders my name disgustingly, and furthermore claims to be a religious person, but really is a pathological liar. He's a detainee and was a deportee, and he still lives here now, still has his New York accent. And the next one is renting from somebody who is related to him in the same religious faith. The person who is related to him in religious faith was one of the school teachers in El Dorado Blue. Very good friend of mine. I'm not knocking him at all. But sometimes people's beliefs, I repeat, people's beliefs have them getting in trouble. And if you have a religious belief or political belief, don't be a psycho fan and reach to personal matters and calling names and stuff of that nature. That's when you know your IQ definitely fell out of line. And I don't have that problem. And furthermore, I have this great superpower. It's called thinking before I speak or type. It happened to me from since I was about 5 years old. And then I used to watch things and read whole books from since 6 years old. So what happens, this is roots. But there's no kunta kinte here. This is roots of the tree. So you're seeing how that puffing out of the ground? Seeing how everything looks around? So when she's growing oversized, people realize, nah boy, you have to take care. So what's going on? If you realize a space was cut for somebody to sit down. So in a certain faith, you'll hear people say man a business. And furthermore, some people are scared when things happen and they have to bear witness to what is occurring. There are some companies that make vehicles with flaws on purpose so you could come back to buy a new one. And there are some people who have built-in flaws that only happen because they had bad relations. Some people don't ever think about that. And being that I have two very interesting first names, I never thought later on in life I would have grew into the person that I am today. And that's not a matter of showing off. But I definitely like when trees correspond and people have a good relation with Earth's vibration. When you see greed and vanity, you literally see it on the faces and actions of people nowadays. And it had a song based in Trinidad, and I've never seen Mia Motley act like that before. Do you know what that song is? Trinidad and Tobago, Canada, and the United States and broader spanning world. It is from a man called Leroy Callis. Do you know the name of the song? Type it in the comment section if you know what I'm talking about. What also is very interesting is that you always hear about the interactions between a father and daughter, and it's the hardest bond to break. So when the mother lies about situations that occurred because of situations that they're not in a relationship anymore, to change the mindset of somebody, it makes you think how evil somebody has to be. This is exactly what goes on in politics, religion, and in life. And if you sit with those three sets of wisdom in a corner, you'll realize you can observe what is negative, what is truthful, what is positive, and what's lies. It's very easy. Having a cloudy day is a nice day. Having a sunshiny day is also nice, but it encourages you to drink, to rehydrate, to go on, preferably drink fermented items to relax also, meaning like beer or stronger than that, especially because of the heat. So what is very interesting, the human body knows what it wants. But one of these things in life that you need to understand, fear grips many of the small-minded individuals that are peer pressured into moving like that. And those without fear only came that way for one reason. Break the mold is what I'm trying to say. Don't make others have you in a chokehold. As usual, Trinidad and Tobago, I love you guys, and take a look how beautiful things could be when you let go. Deuces.